Hi, welcome back to Jana's Beautiful Mess. I'm Jana, and this is a full garden tour, week 5. We live in zone 7B, 8A in central-ish Alabama. There has been a ton of growth this week. It has rained 2.5 inches in the last 2 days. So I thought today would be a great day to do a garden tour because everything's gonna be green and just growing like crazy. So let's get into the tour. This week we'll start the tour from the roadside. So right up here is our kitchen door, and then you come out the kitchen, and then here is the garden. This is the raised bed garden area. So we have 3 of these long beds, and then there are 2 shorter beds on the other side that we'll get to in a minute. But we've got 5 raised garden beds here in this area, and I can't remember the square footage. I'll try to put it up on the screen. All right, let's get into it. These are the strawberries. They're in green stalk planters. I'm gonna top them off with some straw, probably this week. And in the garden bed here, close to the house, these things here on the end that look like trees, they're actually lettuce that, of course, are bolting. And so we've just been harvesting what we can, and they'll be gone soon. As you can see, pest pressure on the spinach is getting pretty intense. I'm sure it will be gone soon as well. This is the row of cherry tomato plants. If you've watched the previous garden tours, it's the one that I have alternating Mounts Wild Cherry and Atomic Grape all the way to the end. So there are 10 of each, 20 total. As you can see, they're getting pretty tall. Like, I'm standing on the ground, and that's how tall it is compared to me. Black-seeded Simpson. I'm not sure why it's still here, except for I haven't pulled it out and thrown it in the compost yet. It's done. Romaine. It's good. We're still harvesting from the top, but it's only a matter of time before it's done as well. We've got some Atomic Grape tomatoes that we're just waiting for them to ripen up. Soon, soon, soon. The jalapenos, they're doing great. Really happy about their progress. And the elephant dill. And the cilantro, some of it has bolted. Some of it's still okay though. It's only a matter of time. And these, soon, more Atomic Grape tomatoes. Flowers. Deadhead them so that more will come out. The other side of this bed are the wine tomatoes. So there's vintage wine and brandy wine. And they are looking wonderful as well. They're not ready. They won't be blushing yet. We're still waiting for them to get full size. But then, so excited. Eggplant. I don't know about the eggplant. I don't know. They look pretty rough. I don't know if they will make it. They're like lace. You can see through them practically. Look at all those. Look at all those guys. The beets. All this rain has really helped the beets plump up. Look at that. Big one. That's exciting. More spinach. It's bolting here. Here's the second bed. 20 more tomato plants on each side, so 40 total for this bed as well. Got some empty spots that we're gonna need to sow soon. All this lettuce is gonna have to come out really soon. It'll all go in the compost. There you go, you can see the little seeds in there, or flowers, I guess I should say. Carrots, flowers, more lettuce that needs to come out. These are mortgage lifter tomatoes. They have the prettiest pink color. Peppers that I was talking about last week. There we go. A lot of them had wrinkling. And so I came through this week. Of course, look at those guys. The size of those peppers. Those are bell peppers. It says it's a red banana pepper. I was waiting for it to get red, but anyways, I cut off a bunch of the leaves that were curling on this one especially. It looks like it's got some that are coming back now that aren't as curled, so maybe that helped, I don't know. So over here, yellow bell pepper. I think these are probably the tallest tomatoes. I think this is probably the tallest one. Flowers and peppers, and more flowers. And the Swiss chard, it's really pretty. I really like the Swiss chard. Man, these tomatoes are just loaded. Look at all of them in there. These are the Clementine tomatoes. More bolted spinach, more carrot, more Swiss chard. This is Bright Light Swiss chard. And I believe I bought it from Johnny's Selected Seeds. And more beets. All right, third bed. 40 more tomato plants, 20 per side. These are onions, all the way down. All the way down. And then longevity spinach here on the end. It's doing well. These are bunching onions. We need to come out and cut some. I need to see if there's like a, I don't know, maybe a pesto recipe or an onion dip recipe. Anybody got any plant-based onion dip recipes? Or they don't have to be plant-based. I can adapt them and make almost anything plant-based. Guys, I'm worried. Look at this. That's not good. That's what happened to some of my tomato plants last year. And then they got so stunted that they never did anything. I think that's either leaf hopper or poison hay. This is one of the reasons I did so many tomatoes this year. There's multiple reasons, but this is one of the reasons that I'm glad I have so many tomatoes this year. You just, when you're learning and figuring this stuff out, there's so many different ways that you can kill stuff and not even know it. Look, almost all the way down the tomato plants. Just came out and pruned them again yesterday or the day before, and I don't even have the tomato pruning video posted yet. Look at this one. It's created its own sucker off of a sunleaf. So here, this was a sunleaf. It came out and then it put on a fruit cluster, and then it put on a sucker. Right there, you can see it. There's the leeks. I don't know if they're gonna have the opportunity to do anything. The red onions. Look, they were Aussies. I'm just waiting for these bad boys to ripen. I left them because they came up voluntarily, and not a single one that I seeded germinated this year. Okay, this is what this garden area looks like from the road. So you drive in the driveway here, pull up. So we just did the 3 big beds. Now we're gonna do these shorter beds. These are 4x8 beds. I think we'll probably harvest this kohlrabi this week. Starting to see a little bit of pest pressure. They're getting pretty good size now. That one is big. That one's a little smaller. But we'll probably harvest these this week. And kale. This is my bed of lettuce. As you can see, they're all about to flower, and that's okay. I mean, it's June 8th. We're living on borrowed time, as it was. Look at the ground cherries. I've never grown these before. There's one. There's a big one down there. It's my understanding, part of the reason they're called ground cherries is when they fall off onto the ground, that's when they're ready. And look at this. The kale is just, it's time, it's getting eaten up. Some lettuce here. More parsley. Look at my tomatillo. Can you believe it? It's outgrown its tomato cage. It's huge. See? Tomatillo! And I know the peas are still here. But every time I decide I'm going to come out and pull them, I come out and there's a whole bunch more peas on there. And they're yummy. But they're ready. I mean, look at the size of that pea. You can eat them when they're little bitty and tender and you eat the whole thing. Or when they get bigger like this and the shell is too tough to eat, you just open them up and eat the beautiful little pea. Here's the mint, and I showed you at the beginning of the season. So then when you come down from the stairs, right there is where I was standing when we started this tour. Okay, that should do it for the kitchen garden area. So now we'll head around back and we'll show you the update of the stuff out there. Here we are in the backyard area. Sorry about the air conditioning noise. I hope it's not too loud. So we're starting at the top of the stairs, and then I'll take you down into the garden and show you. We'll start right here along this fence line with the determinate tomatoes. That's what these are. All the indeterminate tomatoes are in the kitchen garden area that we just toured. You can stand over here so we're a little bit farther away from the air conditioning noise. Last garden tour, these hadn't broken the surface yet, but now they have, as you can see. These were the potatoes that we planted from the chits, which are the pieces of potatoes. These are the ones that we planted a week earlier from whole potatoes. They're quite a bit ahead of the others. However, not any of the ones on the end closest to me came up. This next bed here, all the cucumbers on this side, and then the other side is tomatoes. I won't make that mistake again. Extra basil that I threw in at the ends. Cucumbers are doing well. There's some yellowing at the bottom. I might cut those leaves off, some of them. They're going rogue. The other basil that I stuck in. These tomato plants, after all this rain, they're finally starting to look better. Had them in here all this time and they're just now starting to get suckers on them, which I find encouraging. It means they're starting to grow. And tomato plants all the way down. This also has tomato plants. This is a 16-foot long bed. There's one tomato plant per square foot on each side. So there are 32 tomato plants per bed on these two beds. So 64 tomato plants total in these two beds. As you may be able to tell, since last time, I have mulched these two beds with straw, but I didn't film that process. I decided to stop mulching. I left it for 2 or 3 days to see how I'd like it. So I stopped mulching so that I could film the rest of the process and do a mulching video. That's why it looks a little bit different. Next time it'll probably all be mulched, or everything that needs to be mulched will be mulched. The mulch seems to really be helping, but I'll make a whole other video on it. More tomato plants, all doing really well. The extra onions that I had from the bed up there, I stuck in the middle, down this row. They're coming up, doing well. This is our crop of corn. It germinated pretty well, all things considered. Had one that didn't come up right there, one that didn't come up right there, right there, right there, and then one that didn't come up in the middle right there. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with the crop of corn. These are the summer squash, the yellow summer squash. And they're in the middle, and they're halfway. And then from halfway on is Black Beauty zucchini. This whole side over here, those are all nasturtiums, and they're alternating between red and purple. This other side is just pest prevention flowers, multiple kinds. It'll be a surprise. After doing a little bit more research, I believe these zucchini and squash are all going to be way too close together, so we may have to trellis them. Then this last row here is the onions. I started them from sets. They're red onions to about probably right here. And then from there to the end are white onion sets. So that's it for the no-dig backyard garden. I almost forgot to give an update on Raylan's pumpkin. It's bigger and growing faster than all the rest of my squashes. Now we'll go to this hodgepodge mishmash bed. This bed's kind of turned out to be the experimental bed, so we just put stuff that we didn't have other places for. All the peppers in this bed are spicy peppers. All the peppers that were in the kitchen garden bed are not spicy peppers. These are all the brassicas that we'll never get anything out of, or at least the cabbages and stuff, but I won't just let them go to seed. See these little pods? I'm told you can use these in stir fries. They're not bad. They taste just like whatever brassica they come from. You pull them like that. They're pretty good. Anyways, you can either let them go to seed like that and let the seeds fall, or you can harvest those pods and use them in a stir fry or something. Pretty sure that was a Brussels sprout maybe. All right, we'll turn you back around. This back row, everything here that's trellised are cantaloupes of one sort or another. I think there's honeydew and there's honey sweet and a whole bunch of different kinds. And these 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 are watermelons. And yes, this trellis will not hold them. We're gonna have to come up with another solution. But look. That does it for this week's garden tour. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me again in the garden. It's always so much fun to have you here. As you can see, things grew a lot this week with all the rain. We don't have a whole lot of fruit ripe yet, but there's lots of fruit setting, and so it's only a matter of time before we will be harvesting lots and lots of yummy produce. I will see you again next week. Bye.